Hey guys, Arthur here, and what am I doing, you ask? Well, I'm trying to get my pink sponge working because I've been tasked by Pretendo, the real Pretendo, I know, it's crazy, to make a new launch title for the new Nintendo Classic XL Pro. And I mean, I've got nothing. No new ideas are coming to me. Nothing new, only old ideas. Why use new ideas when you've got 40 years already backed up? I mean, Pokemon did it. Twice. Yeah. Video game remakes. They're a tricky one. Sometimes the games can be a great way to restore and improve old classic games, but most of the time, they're just rushed and unfinished and cash grab. So then, let's take a look at this wide genre of unique games. First up, let's take a look at a game that was released just last year for the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. This was the Spyro Reignited Trilogy, which is also releasing in September for Nintendo Switch. This game is a remake of the original trilogy of Spyro games that were released for the PlayStation 1 in 1998, 1999 and the year 2000. These games are the main titles people think of when talking about the PS1, so people were pleased with the finished project. This could be proven as, on IGN, it had been given an 8.5 out of 10. Too much Spyro, not enough Dragon. Most of the songs are remix versions from the original games, with a few new songs made by composers from Spyro, Year of the Dragonfly. Players across the world are ecstatic to see these games put back into limelight once again. But there was some, well not hate, but disliking going towards the game and Toys for Bob, the developers. This was because people felt the games were slightly diverted from the original and didn't have the same 8 out of 9.5, too much Dragon, not enough Spyro. Crash Bandicoot and the Insane Trilogy is a similar remake kind of thing as the Spyro. This game includes the first 3 Crash games, Crash Bandicoot Warped, and Crash Bandicoot Cortex Strikes Back. Maybe not in that order. These 3 games were made between 1996 and 1998. This game pulls to the old courses and adds considerable upgrades from the time. This remake was done by Activision when they bought the rights so they can continue the series. This attempt to Crash is considered the best from Activision after the failure of Mind Every Mutant and its appearance in Skylanders. This game was considerably better than what people were expecting, and 95% of people enjoyed it, according to Google. And this is the 8th best-selling PS4 game, with over 2.5 million copies sold. It won many awards, but the main award was for Classical Game Revival. Given that makes it look an amazing game, and rightfully so. Many were happy to allow the new game Arrival to play a masterpiece. It showed across the board this remake was wanted and gladly accepted by the Crash community. Because of its large success, Activision and the developer Beanbox have decided to give the same treatment to another beloved PS1 game, Crash Team Racing. The game wasn't just the first 3 games with new games of paint, they added extra details and stages that were fairly similar in the first game, so that new players could differentiate in different levels from each other. As an extra bonus for the remake, they released 2 new levels, Future Tense and Stormy Ascent, both of which are inspired by 2 unreleased levels. Overall, this is a very good remake, and this is the level of quality that all other remakes should aspire to. But right now, I'm just going to go try out the 2 new levels, Stormy Ascent and Future Tense.
1 hour later.
This game's trash. 9 out of 9.5 Aku Akus. The Legend of Zelda is a largely beloved series about a boy called... a princess called Zelda, and a wizard named Gamblecork. Over the years, the series has continued to impress people over and over again with stellar games hitting the market, with it being one of Nintendo's greatest franchises. It is no surprise that it has seen many remakes. The Game Boy Advance is very guilty because when it comes to Zelda remakes, 3 out of the 4 Zelda games on the handheld were the remakes. These include The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, Zelda 2: Link's Adventure, and The Legend of Zelda. These games were literally just the original games, but on the GBA. Some differences include widescreen and on the go. These games are changed and do look sort of different, but aren't popular remakes like with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. 4 out of 9.5. These are literally just ports. Finally, in 2011, Nintendo saw the mistakes and full-on remade 2 N64 titles, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. This was risky as these 2 games are some fan favourites, especially Ocarina. Luckily, both games were a success when it comes to ratings, but personally I feel they should have waited to do these. The 3DS was of course doing great at the time, and in most people's eyes, better than Nintendo's Wii U, except I don't think it was powerful enough to deserve the Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. I thought Nintendo should have waited a little longer, or maybe even brought the game just to have a full upgrade with modern controls and for it to be on the big screen. This is highly deserved from Ocarina, as it's such an epic adventure. Not all things surrounding these remakes are bad though. The game overall is obviously better looking than the original, and there are some minor changes added like touchscreen, ease of access for Ocarina songs, and of course the big one, 3D? Oh! Of course, looking back, I don't think the 3DS's 3D was that impressive, of course. When we first bought the system, we look at it, turn it on and think, neat, and then switch it off again. But that's the biggest change apart from the graphics. After all, they did have the tagline 3D. Later on in 2015, Nintendo pulled something like their Magic Hat and remade one of the most underrated Zelda games and turned it into a timeless classic, The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. This game was released for the Wii U and looks absolutely fantastic. You can see that love and care was put into this game just by looking around its surroundings. The graphics, textures and UI have all been updated to a crystal clean HD. To crystal clean HD, and it looks like the game made this year. The changes that were made were welcome ones too. They range from use of the gamepad for your inventory and fishing. This is how to pull off a remake. I mean, it's the golden shrine that every other remake should live up to. The love and care that you can see was put into this game. It's just truly amazing, and it's so intense, it feels like the water is coming right at you. There are a couple more Zelda remakes, but I'll leave those for another time. Sonic the Hedgehog is often a franchise overloading their games with nostalgia. We see this in Sonic Generations just being Sonic Generations. Everything about that game was nostalgia. And the Sonic Force is also including classic Sonic for whatever reason. Seeing as Sonic Mania came out the same year, and it's basically just nostalgia of the video game. I mean, go to nostalgia and just go to nostalgia in the dictionary and you'll see Sonic the Hedgehog right there. Look, see? However, one thing they don't often milk nostalgia of is the Sonic Adventure series. Yes, they do sometimes port the game onto other systems. However, they do that with nearly all Sonic games. The classic Sonic games, especially, being on basically every single console with some remakes, just scattered here and out. These are mainly victim because when Sega stopped making consoles after the Dreamcast era, they started to focus on third-party developments and decided to port their games to all other hardware that wasn't Sega consoles. Even less known Sonic games like the Sonic Art and the 8-bit Sonic games have been ported into other consoles, with things like the Sonic Gems collection, Mega Collection, and so on. I mean, Sonic games are important to the console market, kind of to build a wall to stop you from getting in. However, one thing they don't often do are remakes. And the highly requested remake that fans want are the Sonic Adventure series. These games are good, but time has not been nice to these games, especially the first one. At the core, it's a good game, however, there's a few rough edges that a remake could fix, just to make these games much better. Even in a talk on Retro Gamer, Takashi Iizuka stated that the game has some rough edges and that makes him want to remake it again. This is definitely in the realms of possibility. Now this interviewer seems to be strictly talking about Sonic Adventure, so there isn't too much confirmation on an Adventure 2. Games into a duology about like Crash and Spyro remakes instead, with just 2. I mean, they could include Sonic Heroes as the game as a continuation story-wise, although the gameplay between the games are completely different. This will cause some trouble due to having to make 2 different gameplay styles fit into the collection with ease, and without it confusing new players. They also have to change some models in which is the different designs between them, however I think it would be great to see these games remade, sorting out the problems present in the originals and creating a much better experience. One remake I would like to quickly mention is a fan-made one called Sonic 2 HD. This game is a full remake of the original game, but without any major gameplay tweaks. Instead, it took the original Sonic game's 16-bit art style and replaces everything textured, including GUI and menus, into colourful, vibrant textures and look painted and coloured. It truly looks phenomenal. You should definitely check it out. Link down below. All Stars is a bit of a weird one, as it is a mixture between a remake and a game compilation. The original came out for the SNES in 1993 to 1995, depending where you lived, as a compilation of all previous Mario games, including the American and Japanese version in Mario 2, titling the Japanese version The Lost Levels. And this was the first time that this game was ever featured in the West. However, it also remade these Mario games of old with updated graphics, sounds, and adding a save feature to the stores. They also eventually made a version including Mario World as part of a bundle with a change of colour and logo for some reason. It was a pretty cool concept, although I would have preferred if they included both the new and original versions of the game, so both sides of the player spectrum would be happy. A Wii version of the game did release to celebrate Mario's 25th anniversary in 2010. However, this version isn't really as much of a remake, as much of just a port for the Wii. Nothing much of value was added to the actual game, and all that was really added was a cool box, a little Mario history booklet, and an audio CD including some Mario tracks. Overall, this release is pretty disappointing. I mean, where the hell is my Hotel Mario representation? Come on, Nintendo, you should do better than this. If such a new version of the game were to release, Nintendo should really add some new features and games to the collection. Maybe include a new Super Mario Bros. Games, at least have some of them. You know, maybe excluding the Wii U version, seeing as that just got the deluxe treatment. Now remake the old games of old with updated graphics like they did with the original. Maybe in the new style, however that's a little generic now, so maybe go through a 30-bit looking style, like what Sonic Mania did. Or change the style to look akin to that of Odyssey, or maybe even the painted swampland, that one level from New Super Mario Bros. U, where nearly everyone agrees that's how the whole game should have been styled. Or maybe even the Striker's box art style from the Wii days on GameCube. Or even the Yuji Katabi classic looking Mario style. The possibilities are really endless. They should include more extra features such as a music room to listen to all the classic and remade tracks. Maybe the mini games and a few more from the new Super Mario Bros. DS, just as a little side content, should definitely include the option to switch between the remade and classic versions of the game. There is so much that could be done to make this feel like a great and loving collection of games, but I feel like they've only scratched the surface with the re-release of Super Mario All-Stars. I mean, maybe due to limited hardware specs, but still, nowadays there's so much that could be done. I mean, the Kirby collection included a full-on music room, and collections and pictures of old games. I mean, come on, Nintendo. So what have we learned? Remakes can be so good, and they can also be really bad, but I mean, sometimes they can be filled with so much love and passion and a true tribute to the original game. And now only one thing is troubling my mind. Why on earth did Nintendo think it was a good idea to make Super Mario 64 with a D-pad? Makes sense.